little bit of a follow-up to this because I'm reading comments. When I say I don't read comments, it's like I stop reading comments at a certain point, but like I wanted to read because, again, I like to be aware of what people think of me or whatever. So let me just do a follow-up because this is more now just about me and people having comments or concerns about what I said in part 1 in the video I posted this morning. And then I promise I'm gonna like get on and shower and brush my hair and move on with my life from this. But okay, the first thing is the comment about like, you know, she asked me if my sister was dating someone that I heard had herpes or something, that I would tell her. And like what I said to that was like, no, because it's just not my place. Like, there's 2 adults. How do I know my sister didn't give him herpes? How did I, you know what I mean? Like, that they've already talked about it. Like, it's just not my place. Also, a sister's a very different thing. If, like, let's say someone's like, yeah, this person has AIDS and he's spreading it around to people or something like that. And I was like, okay, it's my sister. Gabbie's not my friend. And on that note, we weren't friends. I just got to be a lot more clear with this because I was trying to be really, really nice, like with kid gloves this morning. But I got to be really clear with this because a lot of people are like, well, I kind of feel for Gabbie if she thought you guys were friends. And like, again, I'm trying to say this like as nice, like this is the best analogy I can give is like, the only way I relate to this is like, I thought sometimes I was dating people I wasn't dating, but I convinced myself and like that we were dating. So obviously when they cheated or I saw them out with another girl, even though what we did felt like dating, which again, she sent me, I have the voice memos. I don't feel right releasing them, but I guess she did leave in the parts of where she said that about the Thanksgiving and all this stuff. But it was constant back and forth of her saying, you said this. And I'm like, I didn't. Most notably that I remember is during that whole thing last year. The reason I made the video is because she put my name out on the Instagram story first. She vehemently up and down denied that that happened. And I was like, no, I know, because that's why I made the video. I was in the middle of a move. I just got back from a trip. My best friend was out here. We were about to go out to dinner. I did not want to make a video, but then I saw that you put my name. Like, I know that happened. So it was just like a lot of that. But back to the dating thing. Just because in my head, I thought I was dating someone, which, like, you know, we were, like, I physically saw that person and stuff like that. Like, if they say we're not dating, we're not dating. And same thing with the friends. And I'm sorry if this comes off cold. I'm just getting like a little frustrated about it because it's like, I can't, like, I don't know. Like I said, I've been nice to people. I've been nice and maybe I shouldn't have been or something like that. But I hope that makes sense. I hope that like what I'm saying is making sense. But Peter Mon actually did such a spot on video, and I sent him a message, and I just want like to be total like transparent. Is I sent him a message not to be like, thanks for, like, it wasn't even like, thanks for defending me. I was like, thanks for saying that, because I felt like what he said was so spot on from the words, from the thoughts when I left that podcast, which was like, thanks girl, glad we're cool. I'm not gonna say anything bad about you. You're a cool person. I see you got emotions. Thanks for the pizza. Bye. And like, that was it. Like, he got all my feelings and emotions so spot on. I just felt more relieved to hear someone like get it. And he did a really good video. And again, I don't really think it's necessarily like defending me, but just kind of, he saw what was there without having to be shown what was there. And then I just saw a couple other comments about me saying like, oh, well, Moses was there. The reason I'm saying that is to, and like, I also mentioned that there's another producer there, is to just, again, give sort of some weight to, there's other people that witnessed that. There's full on footage. And Peter was saying, you know, how she mentioned that we talked for an hour and a half before the podcast, and then we started the podcast and she included, I agree. I wish that stuff was included, because like she told me so much stuff about like private drama or whatever. And it was kind of like a weird thing, because that already set me in a weird space, right? You're hearing your best friend say all this shit about you. Well, he said this, this, and this about you. And I was just like, oh, so it's like, it's just like a lot. And she was, so I was always surprised when you guys hung out, because he used to say this about you, blah, blah, blah. And like, so already that's like how I'm starting this podcast, right? And I was like, why can't we talk about this? She goes, oh, I don't want to talk about any of the drama. So it was just like already kind of like this weird standoffish thing. The other weird thing, and again, I just want to give more context, and I don't, is she was saying, because back on that point of how she was like, I never said your name first, you made the video. And I'm like, Gabbie, like, if something about me is public, then I'll say it. I said, I avoided talking about you for 2 years. Oh, and a lot of people are like, if you felt this strongly, why didn't you say it to Gabbie on the podcast? I did. A lot of it was edited out, and I was being respectful. I wasn't being aggressive. Even now in my own space, I'm not trying to be aggressive because I'm not trying to trigger her, because there's a lot of triggers for her. I have a lot of triggers too. And so I was just like, you know what, let me just try and be respectful, but also like speak my truth. I did say all these things. It did get cut. Like if we were talking about something, she would just cut. It got so heated. But on the note of her saying like, I never put those text messages out first with your name, I'm like, you did. Maybe you slipped and forgot to blur it, but my name was out there. Like, because she put out the story being like, if you knew someone had herpes and blah, blah, blah. And by the way, herpes and AIDS are two totally different things in my opinion. Like, obviously, if my sister is dating someone and someone's like, this person's spreading AIDS around, like, intentionally on people, like, and it's my sister, it's different. Now, if it's someone I don't even know and I'm not friends with, and we're not friends and we weren't friends, like, it's the herpes thing, that anyways. So back on the Instagram story, she's like, oh, and just so you know, she said this like off camera, which again is something like it just sets you up weird. She said a fan of hers is, or I don't even know if it's a fan, but someone's making a full documentary about Gabbie and proving that she's right with that situation. She goes, yeah, someone actually just emailed me all this information and they're gonna prove that I was right about everything. And like, I'm just warning you. And I was like, okay. Like, warning me for what? Like, I know what happened. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, okay, cool. Like, ugh. So I just wanted to do a further clarification because I was just like reading through the comments on the vlog and like a lot of people are really nice and like we could see this and that and it makes sense. And I'm glad. I did send voice memos to Peter Mon because I just wanted him to know. And again, so I'm giving you transparency because I did want to follow up because he said Gabbie like tried to use him to like help her with the drama. No way, in no way. And we have our own, I guess, issues. I told him in my DMs that I'm past them. Obviously, if I did anything to offend him and he wants to talk about it, I'm willing to talk. But it just felt nice to hear someone who like isn't necessarily a Trish stan, right? Or a supporter of mine. Like just, it kind of felt nice to, and I need to put this out there always. I'm not trying to be friends with anybody. I'm really bad at friendships, but I don't want friends, but I've been bad at friendships since I was 10 years old and I haven't had friends since then. So, but I did send that because so many people were like, oh, you're talking about Gabbie with no proof. No, there's proof. There's voicemail. She said that wasn't true. Whatever. And I did that because like his video already without us talking, and he put out his video yesterday. I hadn't seen it. I put up my video this morning. So he didn't even know we don't talk, obviously. And he was so spot on with stuff. And I was just like, wow. I'll link that below. Again, I just want to like paint a fuller picture and like address things. I really do believe in addressing things. Again, I'm not like angry. I think for so long, for so long I was angry, right? Talking about my sexual health. That once again is not true. You don't know me. Jason is an adult. You don't know what we discussed. Like, to me is like so beyond crossing a line. And the fact that she like said, and she cut it out, like, and I asked her point blank, would you do it again? She's like, I don't know, maybe I'd have to think on that. And I was just like, you know, that's that. The podcast is picking up like traction, and again, like I knew it would get views, and like I'm not benefiting off this in any way, like that podcast or whatever. I really do wish we could have had more of a discussion. I think I don't even mind. A lot of people are saying like, oh, Gabbie's using this as like a therapy session, and like honestly I don't even mind that. Oh, the other thing too, and someone else made this point, I just want to touch on this, is like, I don't think I expressed it clear enough because I still just woke up, but I was just waking up this morning. And like the thing with her mom, comparing me to her mom with borderline, is like all borderlines are very different, right? I only recently discovered that I had this like when I was during my mental hospital stays in like early 2019, right? Like this is the first time I'm like hearing about this. A lot of people had told me about histrionic personality disorder, bipolar, and schizophrenia. Borderline was like a completely new thing to me. Like, as far as a diagnosis, I've obviously heard people say that and stuff. I just never really, and obviously getting treatment, DBT classes. So this is all like new still to me. But one thing I really do learn is that every borderline is different. Just like every schizophrenia person is different. Every autism person is different. Like people who have any sort of disability, mental handicap, mental illness, depression, anxiety, like everything's different. It looks different for everybody. So I think that was how we set it off, right? We set off for the hour and a half of her telling me, Shane's talking shit about me and all the stuff he said. And she was like, I was surprised you guys hung out because he said this, and this, and it's okay. It's a lot to take in, you know, it's a lot to hear from someone, even if you know it, it's just like a lot to hear. and then kicking off it, right? You go to be a guest on an interview thinking you're going to squash beef and being like, I relate to you because my mom's borderline and she was like abusive towards me or whatever. And I was just like, ugh. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just totally different things. And it just felt uncomfortable. And a lot of people are like, well, you shouldn't have had Moses watch it. You should watch it. I can't watch it. I can't watch it. There's very few things I can watch. Even the Peter Mon thing, I almost didn't watch, but so many people are like, please watch the Peter Mon thing. And I was like, okay, let me just watch it. And I was glad I did, but I can't watch even good things, bad things. Like, I love Duff Noodles, but if I see myself in the thumbnail or it's about me, like even the day the podcast came out, Moses was like, oh, here's a comment on the, I don't want to know the comments. Like, I don't know why this particular situation triggers me. Even her voice memos, I was like hovering my ears because she had sent more after whatever. And I really do get, you know what I mean? I kind of like, I don't know. It just, I think that whole thing, it didn't traumatize me. I don't want to say that, but I was just like, okay, as a lot of people are saying, wash your hands of this. You're not going to see eye to eye. And that's that. But I wanted to just like reiterate some things that happened because I do feel like people are kind of missing it still. Okay, a couple more things, just because as people are bringing it up, people are saying, you know, you said they're only words, why does it matter? And I was saying that in the sense of like someone you don't know, right? When people are online talking about me, it really doesn't matter, especially if your life is going good and everything's great. And people are like, but if AB says something, it's like, that's such a different thing because it's like a personal experience I'm having. And like, someone's like commenting on like, right? Like if I were to say to Gabbie, like, oh, you know, and she talked about this on the podcast, I'm talking about it, like your relationship with your mom I don't believe that because of this and that. Like, you know what I mean? That's such a different thing. When people say words about me, like it's just words. So I saw that. And then people also comparing her talking about my sexual health and stuff to like when I was talking about one of my ex-boyfriend's sexual preferences, and it was so wrong. And I said that even in the video I was addressing about AB, is like, hey, I've done some messed up shit. And one of the biggest regrets I have in life is talking about my boyfriend's sexual preferences. And it was so disgusting. I've apologized deeply. If someone asked me, would you do it again? Absolutely not. That's the most disgusting thing in my life. I've apologized to him. I've apologized to my viewers. I've apologized. I never made like excuses for it. And just like I said with the AB thing, and like when I was saying like I can't really forgive him right now, like I don't expect that boyfriend, he has forgiven me. I didn't expect him to, because I never would. There are just some things that are a little irreparable, I guess. Like, and like, so to compare, like, okay, but you also done this to people. It's like, I get what you're saying, because it's like, but at the same time, like, I mean, I do take accountability. I do say like, that's so messed up. I would never do something like that again. And I just really didn't feel like there was resolution or closure for me with that. I have to say once again, to clarify, she did say like, hey, let me know if there's anything you want to edit out. I'm editing this, and this out. It wasn't like she gave me the option to be like, oh, actually, could you put the whole thing up? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, that wasn't an option. And again, that's fine. But she did give me first listen, all that stuff. I just really, my whole thing was to go on there and like squash it, right? I don't know. This is more just like me defending, again, myself. And again, I had no problem with her making it like a therapy session. That's like the quotes I'm seeing in the comments. Okay, I really didn't. I understand talking about trauma and talking, like letting it out. And like, again, she felt some sort of like connection with me, right? Like a friendship connection. So she probably thought like, oh my God, Trisha's going through this. And so like, she really opened up to me. And I'm sorry if I came across cold. Like, it really wasn't cold. I think it was all a lot for me to handle, because this is someone that I don't consider closeness with, and we obviously had a sort of history, and all of a sudden she's really opening up. And in between takes, like cutting, like she cried for like, and I don't want to say that in a mean way because I cry all the time, but she vented and opened up about trauma for a good hour. And it was just a lot. Like, I just, I know I'm not capable of handling other people's traumas, like how to respond to those situations. I can't even handle my own. So it's not that I felt bad. I felt sympathy. I didn't know, because it was a lot, and it was a lot that like all came out. Like, you know, I'm thinking we're going on here and talking about past trauma, moving past it, like squash it. And then it became this whole thing. And I respect and appreciate and applaud her really for sharing that. You know, I think the more vulnerable she is and the more open she is, like when she was opening up to me, I did respect her a lot more, and I can understand where she was coming from a lot more. Obviously, saying stuff didn't happen and all stuff like that. I think that's where the confusion is and why I wanted to just clarify. And it's why I just, you know, I kept the voice memos, because we went through back and forth so many times with her being like, this didn't happen, this didn't happen. I'm like, why did you cut that out then? Or why didn't you put that? I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm going for real. I don't know. Maybe I should just disable comments on this one too. But yeah. All right, I'm gonna go. Bye.